Welcome to Buffalo Sports Talk, Western New York. I'm Tom, and let's talk about the other professional hockey team that used to call Western New York home, the dearly remembered Buffalo Norsemen. The Buffalo Norsemen had one season. This is, in fact, the 50th anniversary of their 1975-76 campaign, the only season in which they participated in the now-defunct North American Hockey League. The Norsemen used to play their home games at what was known as Saberland in North Tonawanda. It was a time when hockey was really big in the Western New York community. It was the days of the French Connection, and the city was, and the whole community was hockey crazy. The Norsemen found a natural fit in that, drew big crowds, to be honest with you, to the Saberland for their home games. I myself remember going to one game, and it was a lot of fun. The story of the Norsemen in how the season came to an end is really interesting. They had a somewhat forgettable regular season campaign. They ended up 30-44, and yet they still made the playoffs in the North American Hockey League. And their playoff matchup was against the Johnstown Jets. The Johnstown Jets and the Norsemen squared off in a best-of-7 series. There was 5 really hard-fought games. The Jets were up 3-2, and then things kind of went off the rails. Game 6 was in Johnstown, and before the game, the Johnstown organization had made it clear that they had some real problems with the behavior of certain elements of the Norsemen fans at the home games towards the black player of the Jets. There was unfortunately, some racist remarks targeted at him. There was some signage that was, reflective of racist ideals, and the players and the management of the Johnstown Jets did not take kindly to that, obviously. So, in preparation for this 6th game, they had made it known that they were going to be looking for retribution against the organization of the Norsemen. So prior to the game, there was a lot of tension, and it erupted into a brawl before the puck even dropped. The Johnstown Jets had 3 brothers playing for the team, the Carlton brothers, and they were known as, the enforcers of that organization, and they came at the Buffalo Norsemen team. For all accounts, it was a brutal fight, so brutal in fact that 2 members of the Norsemen ended up in the hospital. The Norsemen, following the brawl, retreated to their locker room and refused to come out, actually, to play the game. They feared for the safety of the team. They stayed in the locker room and ended up forfeiting the game. As a result of the forfeit, they lost the game and lost the series, and the Johnstown Jets moved on, and that turned out to be the last game in the history of the Buffalo Norsemen. A few weeks later, the franchise folded, and the Norsemen were lost to history. But, for those of you who were at the games and who remember the Norsemen, they're fondly remembered. I every time I go to Sabres game, I see at least a couple shirts in memory of the Norsemen. And it was a team that, filled a gap. Again, the Sabres tickets were hard to get at that time. That was the French Connection glory days of the franchise. And so being able to go see professional hockey outside Memorial Auditorium, the Norsemen provided that opportunity. Now, the coda to this is really interesting. The whole story of the pregame brawl and the 3 brothers was picked up by some folks in Hollywood, and it became the basis for some of the most memorable scenes in what many people consider to be the best hockey movie ever made, Slapshot with Paul Newman, where the Carlton brothers become the Hanson brothers, 3 of the most, memorable characters, I would say, in sports film history. And, the violence that, was enacted on that ice before that playoff game was the basis for what we see a lot of in that movie. So, that little link between the Norsemen and the Slapshot is interesting. In fact, in the film, the team of that Paul Newman was a player coach. The Norsemen also had a player coach, Guy Trache. The team wears the same colors as the Norsemen did, although it's a different, obviously a different city and a different nickname. But there you have it, the Buffalo Norsemen, and their connection to a great Hollywood classic. And I thought you might be interested in that, and subscribe and like us, and we'll see you soon.